Two friends, different worlds, aligned anyway.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Aligned Anyway. I am your host tonight, Tiffany.
I'm your co-host Josh.
And as per usual, we are always going to make sure that we have a topic for you guys that you're going to like and you're going to be able to connect with. So tonight we are talking about who are you without the title? We have many titles, so that does not just mean your title at work. However, we will be discussing that too.
hmm
But before we get into that, we always like to have some type of levity, even though it ain't always so light. But we want to just kind of come in, release, let it all go, and get into some vulnerable topics that help us to learn, grow, and change if it's required. How you doing today?
I'm not one for toxic positivity, so I can't come into this acting like I am happy, everything's fine. I had a tough week this week. I woke up on Monday and I could not hear out of my left ear, completely out of nowhere. No signs really that it was coming, except for Sunday afternoon. I started to feel like it was just getting a little bit full, so I thought maybe I have an ear infection going on. Would not think that I could not hear at all on the next day. So I get to work and I'm like, I don't know if this is serious or not. I need to see if there's like a doctor near me. Luckily, my doctor for ear, nose, and throat has a practice. So one of them was right by my work within like a mile. I was like, ooh, perfect. I'll go on my lunch break. I go in there, I get seen. They do all the testing on me and they do the scoping. There's no wax buildup. Everything looks good. The canals are good. There's no swollen tube, anything. Everything looks normal. Then he asked me, like, did you notice anything that, like the night before? I'm like, yeah, actually, I did notice like a small diminishing in my hearing due to fullness. And he's like, oh. I'm like, what do you mean, oh? And he goes, well, I'm now concerned because you're not sick and, everything checks out. And you're telling me this kind of just came on all of a sudden. So that makes me believe that you have sudden hearing loss. I went, what does that mean? He goes, is that reversible? Is there a pill? Like, is there a treatment? Could I get a ritual going on? Like, what do I got to do to seance? I don't know what the fuck. Whatever we got to
Like
do. Like,
the
is that
candle with your wax thing? That's for wax stuff.
I get a candle? Like, what do we need to do? He's like, no, honestly, like, there's nothing at this point except doing a hearing test, which we need to get you in now. Like, I think if this goes bad and there's like an infection or something that we just can't see because it's in your inner canal, then we need to really know that. So they did the testing and everything came back okay. And then they're like, oh, well, we realize that there is only a 20% hearing difference in your ear. So I'm 80 in my right because I had some prior damage from a ruptured eardrum from a flight when I had a sinus infection and my eardrum ruptured and it was terrible. That was like a 2-year healing ordeal. I couldn't even go swimming. I couldn't get it wet. Like it was a whole thing. And then
Yeah.
that got healed. And then now I'm dealing with this. So it's been tough. And then I'm like elevating my voice more. I'm having to turn my head more when I don't really realize it. Um, I can't really hear clients that well when I'm in my workplace. It's just not something that I'm accustomed to. And I feel like I am not at my full capacity, which does not feel good when I'm a perfectionist and I have OCD and all the things. So, it's not been great, but I'm not somebody that is defeated easily. I'm not somebody that takes defeat. I win no matter what happens. And whether my body decides to heal itself one day or it comes back or whether I
Wait.
win. See, okay, we gotta stay positive here. It's just become like this thing that's like a battle of positive, negative, positive, negative. Right now, I'm in between. This morning, I was really positive. It's been touch and go. The more it goes on, the easier it will be to deal with. And then one day, I think and hope that it will just magically heal itself, like it hurt itself. So the body's a weird, magical thing, and I'm hoping that it decides to be magical to me. So that's where I'm at. And I would love to hear from you about how you were doing.
I'm glad that you share that because I just feel like that's something that we take for granted. Like when you told me that, I remember I'm like, what? That's even a thing? Like that could happen. And it made me, me, I'm gonna go down the Google sphere and look things up and what does this mean and how can this happen and things like that. And this is one of the things where it's like hey, we have to know what the facts are and all the options, and then really kind of just do what we need to do, like take the medicine, do what you need, and then and hope for the best.
Mhm.
Um, and I know we talk like toxic positivity and stuff like that. That's one of the things that like annoys me. It's like, hey, if it's bad, it's bad. Let's just be real about the fact that it's bad. However, what I think real positivity is controlling your thinking and being the narrator of your mindset, right? So you can still be positive by a swift kick in the ass. Let's be real. There are other things going on that aren't as important as what this is to me right now. In 5 years or whatever, tomorrow, this is going to be nothing because I'm going to be over it and then I'm going to be on to the next thing, right? And that's really just mindset. How are we going to handle things? Feel our feelings and work through them, but we don't have to be like, yeah, I'm rainbows and butterflies and sunshine, but we can be like, I'm going through this. It doesn't feel great, but I'm going to get through this. You know what I
You know,
mean?
and it makes you vulnerable too, because I'm somebody that does not like to portray weakness to a crowd of people or people that know me as somebody that is the focal point of support in a leadership position like I'm in and you're in. So, I get back from my appointment. I tried to go back to work because I didn't know I was going to find this news out. I thought I was going to be told, here, we'll put some sweet oil in, we'll give you some antibiotics, some oxycillin, you'll be on your way. I mean, like normal people think that would happen. I was not expecting that. So I called my team and I'm like, I'm coming back. I've got some bad news, unfortunately. So I'm going to be a little bit shaken. I'm just giving you the heads up. I'm going to try to get it together. And I get there and I tried, but then I had to do like some tasks and it just didn't go well. Like they knew I was not in a good frame of mind. They were like, will you please just go home? And I was like, I'm really, guys, I don't want to abandon you. They're like, you clearly should not be here. I would not be here if I found this news out in the middle of the day during work. Like that's a lot to handle. So why
I
don't you
kind
just
of just assumed you went home. I
I
didn't think
went
you went back
home
to work
I
until
went
yeah.
home probably a half hour early, which was
Okay.
nothing because I
Yeah.
was able to adjust my time somewhere else, but
That was just a drive.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. And, yeah. So that was basically how it makes you feel. Immediately, you go into that place of like, "Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit." You take time, you sit on it, and hopefully, if you are able to move forward with it, then you just realize that, like, you gotta live, and that's the frame of
Yeah.
mind I'm having. I gotta live. I can't let it take me. I'm gonna persevere, and whether I hear it or don't, I took 4 years of American Sign Language classes in high school. I'm real rusty, but I got at least some skills under my bed if something goes
I
real
didn't know
south.
that. I
So
didn't know that.
yeah, I can do this. I can read a conversation, but I
Yeah.
definitely I'm very, very rusty. I mean, we're talking like
Yeah.
well, many, many moons ago, but
Huh. I took up sign language, I want to say like 12 years ago. Like I
uh,
was going to, and and I don't know if you know this. I think you do, but the audience doesn't. At one point, my family was, or my mother was Jehovah's Witness.
oh, okay.
So yeah, we'll get into that later. But I took up sign language. I started going to a ASL Kingdom Hall, and really just like fell in love with it all because of a movie. Switched at Birth. Have you ever seen that movie?
Who's in it?
I never know
I
actors
know.
or
I'm sorry. I
actresses,
put you on
like,
the spot.
ever, but, it's a show, I think it's on Netflix, from a while ago, but basically, there's 2 girls, they were switched at birth, they end up going to school together, and one of them is, deaf. She became deaf from meningitis,
Oh,
and, uh, the other one, like, is finds out, like, "I don't feel like I'm part of this family," whatever. So anyway, they meet and they become immersed in each other's world. And what I love about the show is that they have whole episodes that are all in sign language. So that way you really have to start to learn. And I just got like immersed in this community and I really felt like this really close like empathy for the deaf community
I
and
was just
also
gonna say
like
that.
pride and like I was like cool. I got really passionate about it and I taught myself, I got books on it, I got an app, I started going to the Kingdom Hall, and I really just I loved it. And I wanted to be an ASL interpreter. And when I was working at one of my jobs, I would talk to one of our clients who would come in who was deaf, and I would speak with him in ASL, and he like cried when I did that. And I was like, oh, that's great. And it just felt
Yeah.
great to be a part of that community.
I agree, and that's exactly why I took it in high school. I really felt like they were people that need to have stories told for them, and the people that are begging to be heard but can't be, and what that must feel like inside, and so lonely. Yes, you can talk and you can explain, you can write and you can text and whatever. It's not the same. So for people in the deaf community to have more advocacy, I just felt like, that's who I am as a person. So I wanted to be able to provide that, especially like, we never know if we can go deaf. And God damn it, here we are. Like this moment in my life was exactly why I took the classes. Um, I look back on it now, and that was in 2000, oh gosh, 2006. So we're talking 20 years ago. Holy shit, 20 years ago, my 20-year
I
class
know. Doesn't
reunion.
it sound crazy?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, 20
Oh
years.
gosh.
It's funny. So we'll kind of switch
Insane.
real quick, and then before we get in the topic, uh, one of my best friends, he wrote me on a messenger today this invitation for our class reunion. Now, I went to two different high schools. One of them was in the city, large group of people. I was bullied. I ended up moving in with my mom, and then had a whole different lifestyle. She was in the country. I became popular until I came out of the closet. I was playing sports before I came out of the closet. So I lost a whole bunch of friends. I was kind of scrutinized with all these people on the football team and the basketball team, and I was in track. And that was the only sport I didn't let them take me down with, because I was like, I don't fucking care if you guys make fun of me. You can harass me. You can get me all day long. But at the end of the day, I'm running this shit because track runs off my steam. And then I was pretty good at it. I did some shot put. A 600, I think it was 800-meter run. But I ended up getting tougher. People started like picking fights with me, and I beat some straight guys' ass a couple of different times. And it was honestly it was such an experience having to go through that type of growing up in that space. And I had a graduating class of like 120 people. It was just not an environment that was gay friendly. And luckily, I had my best friend Stacy, who was also a lesbian, and we really had each other to kind of navigate and anchor through. And she taught me really how to be the badass, and she loves taking credit for this. So when she hears this, she's gonna love hearing that, and she'll say it to everybody. And she also apologizes. She's like, "Oh God, I'm Josh. You're welcome for me making you stand up for yourself, but at the same time, like you're kind of a cunt. So I hate you, but it's myself to blame." I'm like, "You're right. So got to one up you. I got to level up." So here we are,
Yeah.
keeping the cunt strong.
Lord. The things that are meant to break us
Yeah.
most of the time end up making us stronger.
That's right.
But that would lead us into our topic today. So we'll be delving into who are we without the title. And it was funny because, like, when we're talking about this and talking about our ideas and everything, I'm like, wait a minute, like, how many titles are there? What titles are we talking about? Right. Like, I feel like there's so many. And sometimes when there's so many, you get overwhelmed and you can't really name what they are. And then you named my titles for me. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's just something to kind of like mull over. But for you, I want to just kind of, get into the question. If I took your title, your job, your income, and your status away, who are you really when no one's clapping?
Oh, wow. You just knifed me and we're like, here,
When no
hope you
one's
don't bleed
clapping,
out.
when you're not
Oh,
getting the
okay. Who am I when literally nothing's left and no one's there to support me is what you're telling me, if I
yeah.
can narrate it that. Okay. I am left with my insecurities. I'm left with my boldness, my honesty, my advocate anchor in me. I'm also going to activate the fighter in me. And I am going to find a way to be alone, because if no one's clapping for me, I'm going to have to clap for myself, right? Like if I don't have any circle of people, then who else is there? I'm not going to give up on myself. So I'm going to fucking win no matter what happens. So when I'm left with nothing, I'm left with winning.
Okay. So you're left with winning. Now, question. If no one's clapping, that doesn't mean they're not there. It just means that they're not clapping or they're not giving you that recognition. So are you still there with them? Are they still in your circle? Or when they're not clapping, are you like, hey, peace out. I'm going to go be by myself because I'd rather be by myself than be here where you're not cheering me on. You're not rooting for me. You're not supporting me.
Yeah, great question. I would say that I'm a natural cheerleader for my friends, and I think you can advocate for that too, just on
Yes.
the fact that, like, if you are in my circle and I got you, I got you. As long as you got me, we're in it. So, if I don't have you doing that for me, I'm immediately gonna pull back. And then if you don't notice, it's because you just didn't appreciate it. And then if you did appreciate it and you start to wonder why it's no longer there, well, guess what? Now you're a selfish asshole because you're expecting it. And either way, I'm no longer going to be giving it to you, and I'm going to be peeling back, and I'm going to get more secluded, and I'm going to eventually cut you out of my life because, I don't need you clapping. But if you ain't providing some sort of support or some sort of symbiosis to this relationship, then what are we doing?
And that's reality. Like, I'm glad that you said that and just kept it real because I feel like some people would be like, "Oh, I don't expect anything from my friendships," or it's not about that. Yes, yes, the fuck it is. Like, I need you to show up for me. I need you to be
Yes.
there for me. Now, let me be very crystal clear. You are not needing to be at my beck and call. If you cannot make it and life is going on, that is okay. And when I
That's right.
say life is going on, I mean like maybe you were overwhelmed today and you just don't have the mental capacity to be in a group of people. Okay, bye, do your thing. But when it's the big things, when it's certain things going on and you push through, hey, Tiff, I'm not feeling great. I'm going to show up for whatever, 5 minutes. Or I'm going to send you something like, hey, I can't show up. I can't be there because of X, Y, and Z. And you don't have to tell me your reasons, but like, okay, here's a card. Here's a I'm thinking of you. I'm proud of you. I just need you to show me that you do care about the things that I'm doing. You root for me and you cheer for me because I'm going to root for you. I'm going to cheer for you and I'm going to be there for you in
Yeah.
however way I can at that moment. If I can't necessarily show up for you physically, I'm going to do it through a text message to let you know that I'm thinking about you. I'm going to call you. I'm going to hype you up. I'm going to share your content. I'm going to buy your product and then repost it. I'm going to connect you with somebody that I know who can get your product somewhere. I'm going to ask you to come on my podcast and talk to people so that way people know who you are. I'm going to show up. So if you aren't going to show up and you don't have the capacity to do one little thing, bye. I don't need
Honestly.
you. Like, I don't need you. And and that's okay. Like, I don't wish you any harm. That's cool. Do your thing. But like, I don't need people in my circle who don't know or don't have the capacity to show up because I don't have time to teach you.
Hmm. We're fucking
Figure it out.
adults at this point. We don't have time to condition people to understand what it takes to maintain a relationship or a friendship or a partnership. If you don't have it in you to just reach out and make time and effort for the things that you actually speak that you prioritize about, then you know what? Then you're not meant to be in my circle.
Exactly. And I make it so easy. Like, I'm not saying you got to text or even call, depending on what you have going on, because I have been in stages where I can't even do that. But I'm going to like something. Hey, I'm in a dark place right now. But like, if you really, really need me, like, I could try to show up, but like, this is it.
Yeah.
Be honest about that. But like, you'll know I'm around. There'll
Mhm.
be a like, there'll be a reshare, there'll be a, hey, heard this, sounded great, that kind of thing. I'm not asking for much. These things are very low effort, but they mean a lot.
So, since we're talking about the way that like people aren't clapping for us, what title would you think that your immediate circle would wish that you would get rid of so they can clap for you more in their eyes?
What title do I think people would want me to get rid of so
Yeah.
they would clap for me?
Yeah, like if Tiffany were more of this title, I would give her more praise and recognition, or I would do more for her, or I would think less of her.
I feel like, okay, I have one. I don't know what I would call it. I guess fitness Instagram influencer or like fitness role model or something. Like when I was 375 pounds and I lost 183 pounds, I feel like people were sharing, liking, posting people that I had not spoken to in years. I mean, like high school or college, people that weren't very nice to me in college. And I'm like, where did you come from? They
Hmm.
would message me and it was this flood of like support, love, judgment. People would then say, like, they would comment on my pictures and they'd be like, "You're looking so good, just try a little bit harder, you're almost there." And I was like, "Well,
fuck that. That's
how do you know I'm
bullshit.
almost there? Like, what if this was my there? Who are you? Like, what the fuck?"
Because the
So it
society has
just
a skewed vision of like what the fuck perfect's supposed to look like, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, so I just always felt like people were very, and I get it, like I'm posting my body because I'm proud of it now and I'm empowered and I feel good and I feel like, I definitely had a little phase where, I was wearing shit real skin tight. I was showing off what I had and I felt damn good about it and you weren't gonna make me feel bad.
That's
But
right.
when I would see those comments, mind you, I used to never want to post my body on Facebook. I would only post from here up. I would never post down. I had to suck it in, be a certain kind of way. I hated what I looked like and I wanted to hide. And so finally I was like, show it off, And I
As
would
you
post a
should.
picture. Thank you. And I would post a picture and be like, yeah, I feel really good about this. I'm so excited. My sister was she knew how anxious stuff like this would make me. So
Yeah.
she'd be like, I'm so proud of you. Like, I remember she would take my pictures and she'd be like, yes, bitch, go off. And I'd post it and then people would be like, oh, you're so close. Like, and I would just get so deflated. Sometimes I would delete the picture when they would leave that comment. I would be like, okay, well, I'm not there yet. Like, I'll post again when I'm there. And so I feel like people
But when would
were
that
like,
there have been? Like, what point would that have been? You know what I
I
mean?
don't
Like,
know. I
so what?
guess when I'm a stick and I look like I got a BBL.
Right, when you're over the toilet puking because you're bulimic, or you stop eating because you're anorexic, because now you want to prove these people, or prove to these people that you can be this disgusting image that they hope you will become, just for the sake of what? Well, at the end of the day, who does it please? And they're not pleased. They're just fulfilling their disgusting narcissistic need to make you feel like shit. And that's the only thing you're feeding.
And you know what's crazy? I used to think it was just like it was for the male gaze, but the amount of attention that I got from women, with these women wanting me to be this like fitness guru. And it's like, I just want to be like a normal fitness person, showing that like
Mhm.
when when your knees ache and your feet ache because you have plantar fasciitis and you have early onset, you know, um, arthritis because of your weight, like when those things are happening, like you're having to fight through it. I wanted to
Yeah,
be for the normal girlies, you know what I mean? Like the
of course.
everyday.
Yeah.
And I felt like people wanted me to get to this like super thin, like, oh, you're going to get there. And I would be like, first of all, pause. I'm still trying to be thick over here. Okay. Like, I'm good. They're like, oh, you would probably look really cute at 160. And I'm like, who are you? I'm like, actually, I'm trying to be like a cool 199, honestly. I just want to be under 200 because I feel like that's when I liked my body the most. I got down to 183, but I didn't like that shape. But people were still trying to tell me what to do and what size I should be. And I feel like that title of like fitness person or weight loss journey, that title, like weight loss journey, whatever, right? Influencer. I feel like people
Life
had,
coach.
right, people wanted me
Yeah.
to be that and become that. And really, like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I had a nutritionist for a little bit. So I just was trying to figure it out, but I'm no expert. I didn't really know what I was doing. So, when I was posting that, I was just posting my journey and like pictures. I wasn't posting it to say, like, I know what to eat or I know what to drink or I know how to work out or I'm that consistent, right? Like I gained
Mhm.
a good bit of the weight back and I'm trying to lose it again. And I feel like, as I'm thinking about the things that I'm doing now are more authentic to me because I'm not like that fitness girl. I just am that girl that shows like, yeah, I want to try to be healthy. I want to try to do the things that are going to be good for my body so that I feel better, so that I have energy. And if I happen to lose a couple pounds, I'll be happy about that.
Of course, yeah.
But that's not what like my goal is. And I feel like society really is so focused on women and their body, and not just women, but like people in general, and like getting to the abs and getting all of this. And it's like that wasn't really my niche per se.
Sure. Yeah.
So it didn't really last long. I had a decent following from TikTok for a little bit. Um, but What I'm more so looking for is like to connect with people more in depth and show my vulnerable side and show my funny side and show my leadership and things like that. And I don't know how that's going to connect with people. I'm not sure because I think a lot of times people are very focused on the physical. So I get a little anxious about how what we're doing is going to be perceived if I'm being real.
No, I love the realness. And I can't say that I haven't thought about that myself. But I want to say that I think what we're doing is important. I think it matters because there are people out there, the influencers, the politicians, whoever they are that have a voice. Influence is what's making change. And even if change is just very minimal, if we can reach out to 5 people, 100 people, and then it starts to grow, then we can start to really understand that, like, okay, we're being heard and we're diverse and we're not the same. And we have different beliefs and we have aligned beliefs and we can still be great friends and still be partners and business partners. And you can do all the things together if you just figure it out, because you have to fucking do this to make it in this world safely and sanely. And even if you're not friends, you have to find a way to coexist. I'm sick of
Yeah.
all the hate. I'm sick of all the hate I have festered inside, and I'm ready to let that be released. And I'm getting that from this podcast. The friends that have given us feedback, and hopefully they're being honest, they've said great things about the podcast. They're excited to see the different perspectives, and the people that are the marginalized actually start getting some voices out there and start speaking when we are told we shouldn't be speaking. The LGBTQ plus community does not get enough representation. The Black community does not get enough representation. We need to be presenting and representing for our people. So even if it's just you and I listening to this podcast and nobody ever sees it or hears it, I'm getting something from it. You're getting something from it, hopefully. And that's all that fucking matters. And hopefully everyone else out there gets something from it. And that's the goal, of course. We hope to make this something that gets more monumental in the future. I think that's why everyone else does this, for the hope of that. But if it doesn't happen, we're here having fun, talking to people that want to hear us. And you know what? I'm having a great time.
And so, you know what, guys? You just got an inside look of what our text message thread looked like today when I was
Boom.
going through it and Josh had to talk me down. So, this is why we're friends. You're awesome. Thank you for that. And I really appreciate that perspective. And you're right. And I felt that way when I wrote my book. I published Connected Conversations 3 years ago. And I'm like, okay, I need to market, I need to do this, I need to do that. But I didn't feel like proud still. I still didn't feel like enough. I still felt like I could have done more. And it's like, Donald tell me, he's like, dude, you published a book. Most people, they don't even fulfill that idea or that dream. They just talk about it all the time. You talked about it, you did it, you did a book launch, you read the book, you sold the book, you made a profit, regardless of how small it was. Like he's like, maybe you're forgetting these things. And then as we're talking about like titles and things like that, author is one of the most proud titles that I think I've had. And I am an author. I published a book that, maybe I need to fix some things with it so that I can get into stores, which that is in the works. So I think that we also need to like pay attention of what are we really afraid of? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because I think some of us aren't afraid of failing. We're afraid of not being somebody anymore. I was afraid of saying I'm an author and then people being like, of what? And I was afraid of just not being somebody. And I no longer care if I'm somebody to anybody because I'm somebody to me and I became somebody that I am damn proud of. And so my most prized title is me, simply me.
I love it. I love it. My proudest title lately, and this isn't just because we're doing this, but podcasting was something that I always told myself, like you writing a book, that I would always love to do it. I would never be able to. I could never, right? I would never do that. But at the same time, wanted to. So I had some time off work and I took a sabbatical and I was like, oh my God, this is like a time to really capitalize on something I really want to do. And that's when I created my other podcast, Humor, Haunts, and Homicide, that's no longer
Yeah.
active. But I really found all the skills and I found this passion for talking and exploring a side of myself that I've always kind of hidden. And that's just like being vocal and being me. And whether that's on camera or whether that's on audio only, I've just recently become accustomed to being on video. Even going into this podcast, I was like, oh, video. Not exactly comfortable with my weight or my hair or whatever, my aging. But at the same time, I'm like, this is fucking me, right? Like, this is
And
me.
you are gorgeous,
Oh,
FYI,
thank you.
first of
Thank
all.
you. Appreciate that. But we don't always believe that about ourselves, right? Like sometimes we
Always,
believe
of
it,
course.
sometimes we don't. Most times I don't. But when I do, I feel really good about myself. When I'm not, I really feel really bad about myself. But all I can do is work on it and be a work in progress. And we'll never be perfect because there's not this version of perfect that exists, no matter who believes it out there. So all I can do is just evolve and be a better version of me. And when I started creating this podcast, I felt like I was really unlocking that creative side of me that I've always wanted to explore. And I'm proud to say that now been involved in 2 podcast productions. And, this is shit that like people actually pay people to do,
Yeah.
is start a podcast, launch it on all these RSS feeds. We're literally launched everywhere now. And at this point, we're 7 episodes in. I mean, we're doing this thing. This is how people get started. And it's exciting. Like every time I go
Yeah.
into this, like I call it our studio, my room with the
Yeah.
decor and whatever, but every time I get ready to go and I'm thinking about like what's next, I get excited to like just make some influence happen and just to get some shit off my chest. And
Yeah.
so that for me is my title that I am proudest of right
I love that. And, I was just telling Don about, because he remembered when I was on Humor, Haunts, and Homicide. And he was like, you guys always he was like, ever since you did that podcast, it was like, that was it. And then my first time getting really interested in podcasting was when I was on, I don't even remember the name of the podcast, but I was on it to promote the book. And it was something just like up and coming. They just like found me on social media and I was like, yeah, sure. And then my mom actually was like, Tiff, you did great on that podcast. She didn't feel like the host was that great. And,
now.
Mama Tanya be keeping it real. She gonna tell you the truth. But she was like, you have something. Don't know what it is. It's something. And she's like, you've got that performer in you, which makes sense because I write poetry and I wrote a book. So that fits. So this was like the next evolution to that because I do like to speak. One of my strong suits is facilitating meetings and I was always the first to like volunteer for that or like do the little acting things and things like that. So it's very fitting for my personality. So I would definitely say I'd agree with you. Like that's a title that's now up there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And also, I want to make sure that I circle back since I talked about the book thing because we shameless plug over here. The book is still available on Amazon, so please go search up Connected Conversations on Amazon, and I'll be in the works to try to get it in some like indie bookstores and things like that.
That's Connecting Conversation at Amazon. Connecting Conversations at Amazon by Tiffany Street. Thank you.
Oh, okay, perfect voice. We got to do that again. We got to do that more and more. But I'm gonna go to this place called Quail Ridge bookstore here. I love it. It's such a cute bookstore. They have like local authors there that do readings and things like that. So I'm gonna just check them out.
Check out Tiffany Street at every single coffee shop bookstore near you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very much appreciate that. So on that note, want to talk about Josh, you're hosting next week. So want to just kind of dive in on what listeners can kind of mull over when they listen to us next week. So I always like to share my takeaway from our conversation today because I always feel like I have an idea of what I'm going to talk about and how I feel about things. But it always changes when I get here, like in the moment, something else strikes me and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was going to come up. All right. That's how we really feel. It's like therapy, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Geez, you're my therapist now or the
Pod
audience
therapy.
or pod therapy.
Pod
That's going to be a thing,
therapy.
guys. That's a hashtag, FYI.
Pod therapy.
Pod therapy for sure. But I just find that what really hit me the most is remember when I couldn't think of like my title and I have all these titles and I really feel like, wow, I just feel proud of myself. Like I'm very proud that two of my titles are accomplishments that I've created just from taking a dream and turning it into something more and making it a reality that you can touch, feel, grab, metaphorically. This podcast. But like I made it for real, like actually published it and didn't just talk about it. And so I'm like, damn, I really needed this to kind of fill my cup. So I'm really just happy and proud to have this space to be able to have a title that I want to own. But if it leaves me, the title is me, regardless. So it's not something I can lose. So what are your takeaways?
My takeaway is a title is just a name badge that we take off and put down when we want it back up. And guess what? There's a magnet on it. So easily it comes off and it comes right back on. Back to your point, we're still us. The title is just who we want to put on that day, who we want to showcase with ourselves that day. Because if I want to present myself on this podcast as a gayer version of myself, which I hope I am to the audience and people watching and listening out there, or if I want to be in a professional environment where I'm around clients and I maybe have to be a little more masculine to make them a little more comfortable, I need to be that version of me. And that is the title: leader, podcast host, husband, whatever it is. I need to be able to put that title down when I need to be able to shift the title. So if anyone can remember out there, your title doesn't just have to be segmented. It could be that title for you at any time. Just don't let it become you, because you still have to be you. That title just doesn't define you. So that does lead us into next week, because I think when you have these titles, you also have to really create a safe space around the people that, have those expectations for you to keep these titles afloat and to help them execute their positions in life. Episode 8 is going to be exploring how safe of a friend are you really? Trust is measured by impact, not intent. And this episode is going to explore the emotional safety of just that. Stay tuned.
And this is Aligned Anyway. Have a good night, guys.
Goodbye. I hated the ending.
Me too. All right.
No.
So let's start over with stay tuned, or not stay tuned, because or see you next week. And then I feel like saying later, bitches. Is that
We
okay?
can do that too.
Okay.
So let me stop
Like,
this.
I kinda feel like
Let me.